At this moment, one of the nobles, who was very upset, lit a torch and threw it towards the roof of the hut. The roof of the hut was covered with dry wood, and it quickly caught fire, and the fire was slowly burning, which the woodcutter with his axe brought himself to the door of the hut and kicked it open and went out and said with a voice of anger, "You are dishonorable for doing this to us." While the fire was burning, the mother, fearing that her daughter would be harmed, threw her out of the window, and the commotion of the people said sadly, "Save yourself, my dear." The girl, who did not want to do this, separated from her crying at the insistence of her mother and went to the forest. She was very sad and her tears were falling. And she thought about her misfortune, why she had such a fate, and wondered why people had treated her like that. It was getting dark little by little and cold air started blowing. The little girl was very afraid because she could hear the sound of wild animals. She found the forest scary and she heard a terrible sound. She went back, and suddenly her foot hit the root of a tree that came out of the ground. And the girl fell with her head on the ground and rolled towards a valley and was thrown down and fell into the river from the waterfall that flowed from the bottom of the mountain. The girl was struggling to save herself and she kept going under the water, and a lot of water entered her body, and finally the girl fainted because her head hit a stone and the girl didn't understand anything anymore. The next day she opened her eyes with the sound of singing birds and looked down the river. The intensity of the water had calmed down, fell on the ground. She forced herself up on his two hands, and then she hit her feet on the ground and stood up. She found herself next to a green field full of colorful flowers. Flowers in different colors. He had never seen such flowers before and had not even heard that such flowers exist in the world. Beautiful butterflies with very beautiful wings in the colors of the rainbow. She was very happy and looked at them with disbelief and ran and played with the butterflies, and then she picked a bunch of flowers and said that I will take this to my loving mother and father. Maybe they will be alive, and in her heart she prayed for their health and cried, and she walked towards the sun had risen in the east. She moved, went until she reached a strange and beautiful forest. At this time, her whole body trembled as if a force was pulling her towards itself. The metal necklace in the shape of a beautiful star that was on her neck from the beginning and from the day she found it in the woodcutter's basket in the forest began to shine, and to the girl's surprise she saw that the trees of the forest opened the way for her. She went so far that a palace appeared in the distance, a very beautiful palace surrounded by a field full of flowers. She went to the door of the palace with fear, because she was very hungry. She knocked on the door and the door was opened to her without anyone opening the door. The girl called out that there is no one here, but she did not hear a sound, so she slowly entered the palace. She saw herself in the Hall of Beauty. A beautiful and pleasant voice reached her ears, and she saw a woman behind an instrument she did not recognize, who was singing a beautiful song while playing that instrument. She was so engrossed in her work that she did not notice the girl's presence.